All right, and we are live. I'm going to now go live on Binance Live as well. If you bear with me for just 1 second while we get everything going. We got a very entertaining show for everybody today. I just want to make sure that everybody on Binance can tune in with us. So we're going to get this going, and then we're ready to roll and start live. And it looks like we are going. So good. Anyway, guys, it's been such a long time. I've been traveling all over the world. I don't know how many countries in 90 days on my latest tour to just see what's happening on the ground as everything unfolds. And it's such an exciting time. I couldn't be more excited for what's coming. The charts are looking bullish. Everything is looking bullish. And yet it feels like there's a lot of negative sentiment right now. Let me put it this way. I've never experienced so much fear when Bitcoin is near an all-time high. So that to me says a lot. And it says that I think a lot of the altcoins haven't been performing like a lot of people have expected. But on the other hand, I truly believe that we are actually just getting started and that we have not actually had liquidity being injected into the system yet. So that's kind of what we're looking at now. And I'm very, very excited for what's to come. So thank you all for tuning in today. Trip and I, the lead analyst from the Capital Mindset, will be doing these lives every day at the same time for the next couple of weeks, just as we get back into the flow, because it's that important of a time to stay dialed in and laser focused right now. I truly believe so. So please let us know if you're tuning in. We'd love to hear from you and what coins you want us to cover. But we are back and better than ever, and the group is going amazing. So we want to share that with you and give you as much value as we can on YouTube right now. So back to the state of the market. I mean, there have just been some incredible things unfolding, but before we get this live stream started, I kind of want to set everybody in the right mentality as to how I'm thinking and how I believe you should be thinking as well. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen because I have a few gems to share with you today. And first up is this kind of meme that I think is really great. It's "No, thank you. I want to stay poor." And why am I sharing this with you? Because I believe that we are on the verge of one of the greatest opportunities of a lifetime. I truly do. I think we're on the brink, on the cutting edge of this new technology. It's like teleporting yourself back to when the internet started to become a thing and was about ready to rip. That's where I believe we're at now. And as the dollar is being debased, as Trump wants to raise the debt ceiling, which we'll go over in the news segment now, it's never been more important to own an asset like Bitcoin, where you're free from politics, you're free from all of the things that are happening to the dollar, and you can live your life. And I want to show you this video. Now, you won't be able to hear the audio. I apologize for that, but I show you this video. It's basically I'll just tell you about it. It's a guy that is talking about now is there's never been an easier time to get rich. And what he means by that is really all you have to do to be a part of this revolution is simply buy and hold. The simplest way to get rich. So I know there are a lot of investors that watch this. There is another way, which we'll be talking about on the live stream today. Let me just remove my screen for a minute. Sorry, guys. Which Trip and I will be going over. Isn't that right? Like, you can, on the one hand, you can invest, which a lot of us are investors here, but trading is such an amazing skill to master also that you can take with you forever, and you can apply that knowledge across different markets. But Trip, I mean, how do you feel on this subject, right? We're here talking about financial freedom. There's the set it and forget it method, which I agree that there's never been an easier way to get ahead, to get out of the rat race, to start planning for your future, not having to depend on a government that may or may not be there for you with a pension by the time you're ready to retire. So what are your thoughts on this?
Well, yeah, I think everyone should learn how to trade just because, like, that's kind of the way the world is going right now. It's a very digital era. It's something you can do from home in your free time. So even if you're not able to trade as actively, it can also serve as just guidance to invest properly. A lot of people who invest, they say they lose money, and most of the time it's because they've heard about something going up, and by the time they get in, it's already starting to pull back. So you're not just necessarily learning this stuff to trade actively like a day trader every day. It just helps you make better informed decisions on your investments overall, no matter what that could be.
Right. Yeah. And so those are two very good skills to have is one, the desire to get out of the rat race, to kind of escape that whole, wheel that people are stuck in, having to trade their time and decades of their life for money. And I know there was an interesting stat about how much of people's lives of their working life had been printed away recently with the inflation that's come with the money printer. And that's kind of like a really impacting thought, and when you start to really process that and you want to plan for your future, now is now is the time. So we are having a sale in the group for the trading group, the capital mindset. The summer sale, it is 20% off, and you get to learn these invaluable skills with Trip and some of the other top analysts in this entire sector. We'll go over some charts later, but guys, do think about planning for your future and learning these skills, because I'm telling you, it's invaluable. And before we get next to this next segment in the charts, I also want to paint the picture of what we'll be speaking about today, which is basically, will we see new all-time highs for Bitcoin in July or within the next couple of months? How high can Bitcoin go, and what altcoins are we looking at? But before that, we're also going to be looking at Ethereum, because that is a big driver in a lot of, the altcoins moving, as a lot of them are denominated in ETH and ERC20 tokens. And it's really interesting what's happening there. So basically, I went over the news about Trump and wanting to raise the debt ceiling by $5 trillion. Obviously, he's in a feud with Elon Musk. So that's been on the world stage, and that's been kind of a crazy thing, because you see, Elon Musk has his ideals and wants to fight for what he really thinks should be done, but Trump is more of a businessman and a politician, in my opinion. So he's also trying to do what's best for the markets. And so they're having this tiff where Trump wants to raise the debt ceiling. There's a lot of speculation as to why and what he's going to do. But yeah, a lot of people aren't happy with that. And that leads to the inevitable, which is turning on the money printer. And I'm telling you, we have one comment here by Max. Why isn't the price going up, even with all the institutional adoption happening at the moment? Which is a really good question. And actually, it's a mixture of things, right? We will see that supply shock come into effect at some point, but also that money printer has not been turned on yet. We have not had an injection of liquidity into the market yet. And that is really what drives this. If you look at the M2 global liquidity, that has taken off. Well, Bitcoin has kind of been lagging. The stock market is booming. So now it's kind of like, okay, we're getting to that point in the market where that's going to start to fire on. And we're going to go over that in the charts with Trip now, so we can answer your question a little bit more exactly, Max, as to the best of our abilities. But the other thing is, Ethereum. I want to go to Ethereum now, because that's a really interesting part of this whole equation. A lot of influencers, a lot of people on X have been saying that ETH is dead. I've never been in that camp. ETH is a very, very important component to this financial layer of the internet, and it's not going anywhere. And I believe ETH is going to have a very big run coming up. So we've got now Tom Lee, which is another big breaking story, that he is going to start investing in ETH. So he's a Wall Street strategist. You guys know who Tom Lee is. He's going full in on ETH. He's now the chairman of BitMine, which is a small Bitcoin miner. And he plans to turn it into the micro strategy of Ethereum, raising $250 million to build the largest public Ethereum treasury. And he says, Ethereum is the architecture of the future of finance. And I couldn't have said it better. In fact, you take it up one notch, and it's that Ethereum isn't the next Bitcoin, it's the next Enron. So it's kind of like, to me, that we're at an inflection point in this market where we're in time to get in on those Ubers, those Amazons, the big, massive softwares and infrastructure that powers the internet on the ground level. That's where I believe we're at. And we haven't even barely started, in my opinion. So that's just the macroeconomic sphere. That's just painting the picture for what I believe is to come. And now we're going to start digging into those charts to see what the charts say. And for that, we have one of the top analysts in this entire space, Trip, the lead admin at the Capital Mindset. And for those of you who are just joining us now, we're doing a summer sale for the trading group. You want to learn how to trade, leverage trade. You're in the best hands with the best teachers, and we're doing a 20% off. The link is in the description. We would love to have you on board. And with that, Trip, how's it going?
Hey, Megan. Thank you. How are you today?
Good. I'm excited. I'm excited for us to be doing these lives. We're going to try to do them every day at 10 a.m. Eastern time, so people can just kind of like know what you're thinking. I kind of recently realized that you and I have calls all the time every morning to kind of check in on the market, what's happening. And we just decided to kind of let you guys all in on that now, because it's such an incredible conversation and you get to see what we're thinking day by day. And we want to provide that value for you. So we appreciate you being here for sure.
Great, thank you. We can take a look at the Bitcoin chart today. Really, I wanted to show everybody what we were looking at in the group over the past week, and then see the results that have happened since then. So if you can see my screen now, if you want to share
Yeah,
that.
just a minute. Let me pull that up.
Okay.
Okay. Yep.
Perfect. So yeah, this is the Bitcoin 4-hour chart. We've been watching this since June 25th. That's when this was posted in our trading group. So Bitcoin has been doing this fairly often. You get these sideways consolidations in a channel, and it even gets to the point where it becomes somewhat predictable. So this white section that's been highlighted here, this is a bars pattern. All we did was copy this section here, added it to the top, and you can see how well the swings are actually following very purposefully in the same direction. So everything seems to be following so far. We noticed this, like I said, about 5-6 days ago now. We're going to take a look at the updated chart. Now this is starting to see where we're at this point, right? It's starting to fill in more of that last bit of this section in the green circle. So we could be aiming for a breakout of this channel at some point. As long as that 200 MA, this is the 4-hour 200 MA, and it's the same one up here that's holding as support. And back here, we also had this volume profile point of control. So now we got the same volume profile point of control also acting as support in that same area. So if you were to compare it to this last move, we could be very close to a breakout of this channel coming right away. So as Max was asking, how come Bitcoin's not going higher? Most of the time, it's because these large companies are the whales of crypto. They're trying to accumulate slowly. So these could be market makers that are also buying and selling and keeping the price in check. But a lot of it, too, could be massive accumulation going on from some of these private companies like Metaplanet and Michael Saylor and all these other guys that we probably don't even know about that are accumulating the same. So really, we just got to let these consolidations happen. If Bitcoin was to go straight up since day one, you probably have a pretty massive pullback coming if that was the case, right? It doesn't really go straight up. But if you look back over the past couple of years, Bitcoin has been steadily climbing, and there's always these periods of consolidation along the way. The big picture hasn't changed. It's still as bullish as it's been since 2022. So really, we're just waiting for these consolidations to end before we see the next legs higher.
Right. And I feel like just to echo on that, the big moves for Bitcoin and just the market in general happen in a very like a handful of days per year. It's kind of like if you're not positioned in this market as an investor, you very well may miss those moves as Bitcoin is consolidating. I mean, there aren't that many days that Bitcoin is really doing those big, powerful bursts or big, powerful moves, right? I think that's just another thing to think about as a long-term investor.
Right. And usually most of the time too, when you see these big pumps coming, it's always after the price has already moved up a bit, it's consolidated along the top, and then it drops down into a downtrend. And then you start seeing buyers come back in, and then you see those rising prices all over again. So really, we're just in the same situation as before, or as we have been for the past couple of years. It's a buy the dip scenario. So same thing in 2016, 2017. That's where the buy the dip phrase came from, because every time Bitcoin had a decent pullback, it was one of the best buying opportunities you could aim for. So again, same thing now. We're looking for a break of this channel. If you're a trader, you can take advantage of these swings more often. So maybe if you caught the move back here and you took profit around this zone and you were patient enough to wait, right? So whether you're capitalizing on USDT or dollar amounts, you could also be increasing your Bitcoin amount. So if you had a whole Bitcoin up here and you sold it and then you bought back down here, you might have an extra 5 to 10% more Bitcoin now. So learning how to trade can also increase the amount of assets that you're holding so you can accumulate more of it over time.
Oh yeah, and then you can put that into your long-term portfolio if that's kind of what you want to do. So you can have both and kind of just be steadily accumulating on the one hand and then trading on the other, trading these swings to sort of complement your long-term investments as well.
Right. Jumping in and out of the market, it has its risks, right? You might have safer trades more often, but you also might miss the really big moves if you're not paying attention very well. So the market can easily run away from you just as easily. So that's definitely something you got to consider. Do you want to take that risk of jumping out and then trying to jump back in at a lower price? Sometimes it's not that easy, but you can definitely hone that talent if you start making charts every day and you see how Bitcoin moves and you start getting used to the indicators. It starts to be pretty rhythmic and something you can plan on. So there is definitely a gain to the whole thing if you were to put the work in.
Right. And let me ask you a question on this. I see the point of control now at 105, 446, more or less for
Right.
Bitcoin. So if we hold that for a few days or a few weeks, it's looking pretty good. But what are the other alternatives? So let's have some key levels that we're watching. If Bitcoin doesn't hold that point of control, is it possible that we're going to come back down to the bottom of the falling wedge? These are questions that we're getting as far as levels for Bitcoin to watch.
Yes, definitely. So the scenarios that we're looking for, it either breaks out here, or we could see a rejection of this upper trend line, and then you definitely could come all the way back down to this lower trend line again. So this lower trend line would put it close to about 97 to 96,000 or so. So you definitely could plan on that scenario. If you were to break lower from this falling wedge, then you usually see a pretty quick move to the downside, because falling wedges, they should break to the upside. When they break against the odds, that's usually when you see the most rapid, strongest move. So at that point, you'd be looking for maybe a move as low down to the next point of control around 84. I know that sounds crazy, but it's definitely the next strongest level that we can see from now in that bearish scenario. But
Right.
otherwise, we're looking for a breakout here, and I actually have this next chart. This one has the fib set up for it as well. So if we're looking for upside targets, then the first thing we need to do is break the previous all-time high at about 111,000, and then we can start aiming for these next fib extensions to the upside. So 115,000 would be next at the 1.272, and then 120,000 at the 1.618. 120 is also going to be a psychological resistance at the same time. So whether or not you have fibs or whatever targets that you think might be strongest, usually it goes by magnitudes of 10, basically. So if it goes to 100,000, you're looking at 110 as your next resistance. And that's basically what this first resistance was here after we broke above that 100K level before. So then the same thing's going to happen. You go from 110 to 120, maybe to 130, but it should stay pretty much in sync with those 10K differences in price.
Right. It's pretty crazy to think Bitcoin could move like in increments of 10,000 per day. I mean, if you really think about it, we're now at 100,000. We're just as close to a million as we were to, the lower end of that. So it's easier to comprehend bigger growth, but still it's hard for the human mind to comprehend parabolic growth and how that looks, especially when adoption starts to kick in. I know we did a video the other day showing like the fib levels on the log scale, and some of them went all the way up to the upper trend line, or the upper kind of like part of the measured move was up to 400,000, and people are upset. You're delusional. It's not going to hit that. Guys, this is trading. These are possibilities and probabilities. And, it's a fact that that was within that move. But whether it hits that or not, we can't predict. We're just trying to look at what's possible, whether that be this cycle, whether that be in the next 4 years or by 2030, right? So I think people kind of get that mixed up when you're looking at charts and you're trying to see what the possibilities may be.
Yeah, absolutely. And we said the same thing before in 2017 when it went up to 20,000. Nobody was expecting that number at the time when it was at the bottom. I think it was still under 1,000 at the time before the big run up started. So it's always the same thing. No one expects it to go as high as it does, and then it usually blows past those levels and blows people away quite literally. So I think the same thing now is if we start looking at the big picture of stuff, we're looking at those as our next major levels, and they might not hit this year. It might take another year or 2 more years after that to hit those levels. But just the fact that Bitcoin is deflationary and there's a supply shock happening, it's not that it's coming, it's already happening. We're seeing Bitcoin run out on these exchanges. with OTC orders at the same time. So really, I don't think that it's impossible for those numbers to hit. If Bitcoin goes to 150K, then it's already up 10x from the bottom when it was at 15,000. So again, did anybody expect that to happen? I don't think so.
Right. Yeah, I don't think so. I don't think anybody expected when Bitcoin was, what was it, around 17,000 when the bull run truly started, in my opinion, January 2023. And then went all the way up to 100K. I mean, people didn't really see that coming. And it's crazy how that works. So I think what our goal is on the channel is to prepare people for different scenarios, possibilities, teach people how to trade with those tools. Before we get into the next chart, I just want to say for everybody listening, thank you so much for showing up. We're going to do these lives every single day. We're going to try to be within the same time frame, around 10 a.m. Eastern. So let us know if that works for you. Let us know where you're tuning in from. This is something I love to do with my subscribers. I'm in Spain, and I just love to know where everybody is at. So let us know where you're at. What's on your mind? We're here to answer your questions and do this together. The reason we're doing this is a live and not our pre-recorded videos, to interact with you guys and hear your thoughts and questions, because you've got one of the best analysts in this whole space ready to answer any of your questions. And I've been in this space for a very long time as well. And I believe that we are just on the verge of something massive. And I want to make sure everyone's prepared. So we have another comment here. It says the reason why Bitcoin hasn't moved as fast as adoption is because the large institutions, as well as exchanges, lend sell just as much as they buy. Interesting take there. I think there are quite a few factors why the price hasn't moved as fast. But remember, we're here at all-time highs, and we, in my opinion, are just getting started. Well, and Tripp has showed us too in some of the previous videos that we're on that kind of parabolic curve on the third stair step, about ready to get into the fourth. I see Arizona in the house. Theta can be a lottery ticket. Yes, I believe so. Theta is the infrastructure, the picks and shovels that power the internet. So that's what I want to invest in. In fact, I just did an interview with Kevin O'Leary, aka Mr. Wonderful from Shark Tank. Guys, if you haven't watched that interview, go watch it. Let me know what you think, because I was really excited to do it. And you'll see his most underrated crypto or undervalued crypto was HBAR, Hedera. I know Tripp has gone over a lot of setups for that. But everyone was like, why didn't you tell him about Theta? Because he invests in infrastructure. In that interview, he says the picks and shovels are where the money is to be made. Theta is one of those plays. A lot of my portfolio is the foundational kind of infrastructure, what I like to invest in, what I think will win the race long term. And those kind of like Amazons, Ubers. I said this in the beginning, I'll say it again. This is a massive opportunity. So yeah, Fuengirola, another Spanish viewer in the house. What's up? I'm in Marbella. Good to see you here. Guys, we're here for you, for it. We're gonna have a lot of fun in these lives. And Tripp, you got anything else to weigh in as far as to, I mean, the fact about why Bitcoin hasn't moved as fast as adoption? I don't think we really have seen that adoption yet. I mean, really, it feels like retail hasn't even been here in full force this cycle. It's been more about institutions, and there's a lot of stuff going on too. There's some manipulation. Like you said, Tripp, they want to buy lower probably. So do you have any other thoughts on that?
Well, yeah, like just the long-term accumulation for a lot of these companies is the goal, but I think a lot of them too are waiting for the framework to be set up. Really, it's just there hasn't been regulation in place to handle or to satisfy these large institutions of trying to get into crypto. So now that we're slowly getting that, and you have states that are legalizing Bitcoin reserves, I think that whole thing is changing the narrative right on, or flipping the narrative right on its head. So it may not be an instant thing, but they're definitely buying it up behind the scenes. I think the reason why you're not seeing as big of a dip as we usually see is because they're buying those dips and preventing it from going much lower. I mean, Bitcoin has been, even though it's had its little pullbacks along the way, like on this chart, this is really about as bad as it gets. You know, you might get these dips once in a while during the bigger corrections, but they always get bought right back up. So really, it's hard to say exactly what their plan is, but the point is that Bitcoin is not going as deep as it used to be, and it seems to be going up and to the right steadily over the past couple of years.
Right. Oh, I will add to that too, that I asked all of my guests this season, including Charles Hoskinson, the founder of Cardano, what their bull market Bitcoin price prediction was and stuff. And Kevin O'Leary seems to think it'll land around 150,000. And he did say that he thinks it'll range forever between 80,000 to 200,000 until we get proper regulation. So let me know what you think about that as well in the comments. But I think it's just like Trip says. I think that people can have their thoughts about where Bitcoin might head or whatever it may be, but oftentimes it kind of like blows away our expectations or, does whatever it wants to do. So it's just interesting to think about these different, things that are happening behind the scenes that could make Bitcoin or help Bitcoin go more parabolic or add to the growth in the future.
Right. Like a lot of these companies too, they're not buying it just to sell it back to make a quick profit. A lot of them are going into cold storage, and it's like it's an asset that they're reserving. They're holding on to it. So again, you're probably not seeing a lot of these dips because there's not a lot of sellers. It's a buyer's market still, it seems.
I like it. I like it.
We can cover the next one really quick. Actually, I wanted to go over that parabola chart just to give an idea of where we were. So last time we were talking about this, we were still just barely breaking above this yellow trend line at the time in April. So now that we've broken above that trend line, we're now using the 1.618 extension. So that extension comes from back here. This was the 2021 high down to the 2022 bottom. So these fib levels from there on up, these are extensions beyond this high. So this 1.618, that's the golden ratio fib level. This has been acting as local support so far, and now we've just been peaking a little bit above the previous high already. And we're really just expecting this support to hold, and then the next target we're aiming for is at the 2.0 at about 122,000. So that's that same number we talked about before, with 120K being that psychological resistance. So now we have a fib level that kind of backs it up as well at that same area of resistance that we're looking for.
Right. So if you had been tuning in April, you would have had the same chart from Trip and been able to follow this move. And that's why we want to tune in every day now and try to make this a more regular thing to help update you, as the people in our group are getting these updates in real time, live, and being able to trade this. But we want to try to give as much value to the community as possible as well, because these are things that will help you get in the right mindset to make the right decisions going forward.
Absolutely. The one that we're watching right now in the group, this is actually our current chart that we're looking for entry on. So this is a inverse head and shoulders. Over here on the left side, you had your low, and then you had that sell-off recently. This is just about a week, 2 weeks ago. So you put in that low finally at about 98,000. And now that we're holding this 4-hour 200 MA, we're looking for a higher low in this area. If Bitcoin can confirm a higher low on this swing, that makes this pattern a validated pattern. And then we're looking for a break above the neckline. And that measured move for just this pattern alone is again at 119,000, just using these local fib extensions. So we've got two different measurements that are both saying that 120 area is the next level to watch for a key resistance.
Right. So what would confirm that higher low for those watching who aren't traders or are looking to learn more about this?
Definitely need to see a break above this resistance. So this gray zone is more of a wider resistance because you got these couple of peaks over here. But the main pattern resistance is this yellow trend line at 108,900. So once this breaks out, that would confirm that this higher low is valid. The only thing right now that I could see happening that would be a bearish idea is if we hit this resistance and roll over, and that would mean you might have some kind of a double top here. So you definitely need to see that breakout first as confirmation. I don't have the volume turned on yet, but if you do turn the volume on, you want to see a decent spike. So like back here, you had a decent volume spike. Over here was a pretty big volume spike, and you can see the others in the past. We don't really have that volume coming in yet. So I think that volume is going to show up if we do manage to break above this resistance. And that's going to be one of the key features to watch when confirming this breakout.
Very good. Yeah, no, it's looking good. I see Funky Dog from Fuenhidrola says that Bitcoin will replace the treasuries and there will be a perpetual demand. I mean, that's where we're headed, right? I mean, inevitably, we are headed down that path. It's just a question of, how fast do things come into fruition. But I do like the saying from Arthur Hayes, the former CEO of BitMEX, that he said, adoption seems so gradual, aka really damn slow, until in hindsight it looks explosive. And Trip and I talked about this on the last recorded video that we did about CZ saying that all of these ups and downs and all this turmoil that we're talking about now in the moment will look like a small blip on the radar in just a few years' time, because that's reflective of the parabolic growth of Bitcoin. So all of this that you're seeing now will just be a small little bump on the chart in the grand scheme of things. So just think about that.
Right. Yeah. I think it makes more sense for Bitcoin to go up a lot and then plateau for a long period of time. So it has to go through that adoption curve first, then it'll be more of a steady growth, I think, from that point on. Once you're into the millions, which I know sounds crazy, but that's what Bitcoin is designed to do, right? It was nobody expected to go to 100, nobody expected to go to 1,000, 10,000, 100,000. People saying the exact same thing now about a million. So even there's, I forget, there was an article back in the day where they were measuring Bitcoin in zero point 0.1 million. So it's not even being measured in thousands anymore. They're measuring it in percents of a million. So that should give you an idea right there of where they expect Bitcoin to go.
Right. That's pretty cool. It's a pretty cool thought. So stack all the sats you can now, guys. That's the lesson, the takeaway from this stream.
Right. We can jump over to the Ethereum chart if you want to check that out now.
Right. So then going back to ETH, how I said the thing about it's the Enron of the internet. It's not the next Bitcoin. It's totally different. Let's go back to that quote, actually, for those who just got here. Ethereum isn't the next Bitcoin. It's the next Enron. And then you've got Tom Lee investing $250 million to build the largest public Ethereum treasury. I mean, Ethereum is exposure to yield. Wall Street is going to want this. It is the architecture of the future of finance. So that being said, everybody's saying that ETH is dead and it's never coming back around. I mean, that just to me is absurd. So I'm excited to look at the chart now. I just wanted to put some context there for why we're going over this chart and why it's important for all the rest of the altcoins to follow.
Right. Yeah. So Ethereum has been, number 2 crypto for, I don't know, years. I can't even remember how long it's been, but it always comes back right after these big dips. That's usually when you see the buyers start showing up. Right now, we're looking at this 0.618 level. This is a excuse me. This is a retrace from the bottom. So if you measure your fib from the bottom at $881 back from June 2022, and that goes up to this high from March 19th, 2024. That gives you this Fibonacci range. So we're looking at the 0.618 now, which was previous support here back in August of 2024. We saw a decent bounce, and it also acted as resistance back here in April of 2023. So this is now an important level that we're watching for this bounce. So in our trading group, we'd actually posted a support entry when this wick was still a candle pushing down into the support level. So a lot of us were able to catch this entry. Now we're just waiting for this bounce to continue higher, as it should, if this confirms a support resistance flip of the 0.618 fib level. This was a potential bear trap, if you look at it that way. So you had your double top, it came down. It didn't play out the measured move of this double top. It actually stopped short. So now that we've broken back above the level that was the previous double top neckline, this is now considered a bear trap. So we're looking for the support entry to confirm that bear trap. Then we're looking for a move to the next fib above, which would be about 3,230, and then maybe to the top of the range at about 4,100. That $4,100 level is going to have to break for us to see more upside. But right now, currently, this is the trade that we're set up for the group. It's a 7% risk with a 94% potential upside from our previous entry. So even if it's just a trade or an entry for a longer term move, we really need to see that break above this resistance up here for that longer term idea.
And that longer term idea, do we have any kind of like extension levels to where we could look to where Ethereum may be able to hit this cycle?
Yeah, well, in the short term, I can see at least a move to 6830. That would be the measured move of this range. So this range from the top to the bottom doubled would be at your 2.0 level, that's 6830. So for now, that's really all I'm looking at because I don't want to get too far ahead of myself. But this is the most reasonable measurement that I can find without being exaggerating too much, essentially.
Right. So this is trading, right? So you're just looking at the levels that you're seeing on the charts. I want to hear from you guys in the chat. Are you ETH or SOL? I asked this question to all of my podcast guests as well in a rapid fire round. It's just really interesting for me to see and to gauge. And what do you think? What price level do you think ETH will be hitting this cycle? If you're bullish on ETH, let us know. But this chart is looking good. And that trade, that was a good trade. I remember when you posted that about, getting at the support level. And the group can literally change your life. Learning how to trade can change your life. It is a skill that can free you from your 9 to 5, from whatever you're doing that you don't want to be doing. I mean, it is an invaluable skill to learn. I know, Trip, it changed your life considerably, and now you're the lead admin and owner of the Capital Mindset alongside us. And what do you have to say about people who are looking to start trading or to learn how to trade that might feel like it's too hard or they won't be able to do it?
Number one thing is don't take on too much at once. You want to practice one idea over and over until you master it, and then you can move on to something else. So this definitely is something you learn overnight or even over a week or a month. It's something you have to learn by trial and error. So even drawing the patterns, it might look simple from the outside looking in when a pattern's already there, but trying to find the patterns when you don't have anybody showing you what to look at, that's a whole different ballgame, and that takes a lot of practice. Learning how to pull fibs, learning how to spot divergences, all these things are going to add to your tool belt, but you can't learn them instantly. So again, just take it one day at a time, one idea at a time, and just don't overwhelm yourself. That's the hardest part. People want to jump in. They want to learn everything. They see all the tools and they want to say, how do you use every single one of these tools? Really, it's about learning how to use one or a few tools very well, instead of learning how to use all the tools a little bit.
Right. Yeah. Like you don't need 500 indicators. You only need to, start with a few strategies and test them and find, what you're comfortable with and what works for you. But Trip does post all the best setups primed for breakouts. So you guys don't need to do that. And I know divergence is a big part of your trading plan and the way that you do things too, Trip. And that's been really big for a lot of people. Before you get into that, I just want to shout out here, Gary, Myrtle Beach is the Theta land. I didn't know that. So I'm going to have to go visit Myrtle Beach. And also, if you guys are like Theta lovers in the audience, let me know if you'll be going to Digital Dave's Crazy for Crypto's Thailand party at the end of the year in December. I want to know if you're going. But yeah, sorry for that tangent. Trip, let's get back to that. So you had the divergences chart pulled up.
Yeah, just to show everybody an example here.
Mm-hmm.
This is just one of the charts that I always have on my right side monitor. It never leaves my sight. So this is one of the most grounding charts that I have to look at, because I can see Bitcoin on all different time frames, from the micro to the intermediate to the primary trends. So your minor would be your 1 hour to your 3 hour potentially. Your intermediate is like your 4 hour, maybe up to the 8 hour. And then you're looking at the bigger picture from the 12 hour to the 1 day. And you can go bigger. Like the 1 week chart is definitely going to be useful when you're looking at the big picture movements. But when you see this chart and you can see everything's down near those oversold levels at the same time, that's usually when you're expecting these bounces to show up. So it kind of just makes it easier for me to quickly glance at the chart, have a good idea of what Bitcoin's doing, and then I can base my next decision off of that idea. So if we're getting close to these overbought levels, as you can see, the RSI is starting to climb up to these overbought areas up here, I probably wouldn't be looking to open any new longs at this point. I'm probably going to be waiting for the price to come back down to these oversold areas. So right here on the 4 hour chart for Bitcoin, once the RSI came all the way down to these oversold levels, that was this big bounce at the very bottom that you could have caught. So this is one of the things you're going to learn. It's not just about knowing how to trade and learning how to draw stuff. It's about being patient and waiting for the signals that you want to come to you. So it teaches you patience more than anything.
I like that. Waiting for the trade to come to you. Patience is an invaluable skill in both investing and trading. And guys, I have to say, patience is going to pay off big this time. I really know it. For all of you who have been hanging in there and trying to learn how to trade, or have just invested and are in it for the long haul, you're in the right place at the right time and priming yourself for big success in life. That's all I have to say. So keep going. And on that note, we're going to get to the top altcoin setups primed right now. I mean, there's so many top altcoin setups. We just picked several for this stream, but if you're in the group, you'll get them all. We're giving you a few freebies on this stream that are at support levels or breakout trades. So Trip, take it away. So you got Theta up there. Let us know if you like Theta in the audience. Let's do this.
Yeah, Theta's been looking pretty good. I'm actually going to go and zoom out for a moment. I'm going to turn off all of my drawings here just to show you exactly where Theta is on the really big pictures. This is now the 3-day chart. Excuse me. So now you've got, well, I can't really draw a level, but you can see this support bounce that we had back here in 2023. Theta took almost 2 years to come back to that same level again. So the chance to buy in now is going to be your the biggest amount of gains that you can get, because you're getting in as close as you can to the floor, right? So your potential for gain has gone up tremendously. Even if you were to buy in a little bit higher at $1, that's already reducing your max gains, because you're getting in so close to the lower levels that your X's for this trade are going to increase dramatically. So once we zoom back in, we're going to go back to this 6-hour chart. Now that we know that Theta is on that massive support level, we're zooming in to see if we can find an entry, like a strong entry or something to confirm that there's a bullish reversal happening. So these falling wedges, these are always meant to break to the upside. More often than not, they will break to the upside. So we could be looking at this as a double bottom on this support level, represented by this gray zone. And we're watching for a break of this channel for the upside to continue. The first thing we need to focus on is the 1-day 200 SMA that's coming into the picture. So if this channel does break to the upside, you can use these fibs as your local resistance targets. But really, we want to see a confirmation break above that 1-day 200 SMA for the really big moves to show up again. So Theta right now, it's in a really good position. It's getting close to this upper trend line again. We've already tapped support for the second time in a couple of months. So really something to pay attention to, definitely because it has a lot of upside. It's got a huge community and just a lot of growth coming for Theta. If you've paid attention to any of Megan's posts on her socials, there's a lot of information coming out and new things to be expected from the Theta.
Oh yeah, the fundamentals are insane. I mean, they're partnering with so many universities, sports teams. There's a lot of news coming on T fuel. So that's the gas of the Theta network, among other things. It's going to be amazing. And like I said, infrastructure, ground level, Ubers, Amazons. How often do you have a chance to get into things at the ground level? Theta's just one of quite a few that I'm looking toward. I believe there's going to be a flight to quality now, as Larry Fink said about Bitcoin being the flight to quality versus the dollar, right? I believe that that's going to happen in altcoins, and the stronger ones are going to stand the test of time, and the weaker ones will die off. And yeah, Theta's in my basket for long term, guys. So it's looking good. Ground floor entry, risk reward is there, and it's exciting.
Right. Yeah, we can take a look at the next one here. This is Pengu. So Pengu, we actually posted this for the breakout entry of this falling wedge here. This is now acting as a handle for this potential cup and handle. So now we've reached all the way up to this cup and handle neckline. We've got a bit of a rejection here, which isn't unexpected. Really, people will take profits at resistance, but we're waiting for a break above this cup and handle neckline to see these upper targets up here. The measured move that we could do, or that we could measure here. Let's use this line tool. So you're measuring from this top down to this bottom, and we're putting this measurement on top. So really we're aiming for around this resistance area. So that could be, let's actually pull out the measurement for the prices. If you were to buy the breakout of this cup and handle, measured move would be around 75%. We're going to say up to about 80% to this resistance level. So Pengu, definitely one of the better performers that we found. And it also has a really nice structure that I think can play out very well as long as Bitcoin cooperates. And maybe if it gives up a little bit of Bitcoin dominance, then you're going to see some of these altcoins really start moving again as well.
Right. It's cool that you put Pengu up here, because actually that was, Luca Nuts, for those of you who are in the space, came in and just vamped up Pudgy Penguins in a huge way, brought them mainstream in Walmart and like tons of big stores. And man, it's cool to see this token winning, because this is a testament to those who are actually building are going to get rewarded now versus speculation and just, all talk and empty shells. So Luca has really done the work. This community is phenomenal, and it's breaking into the mainstream. So I hold a lot of Pengu. I think Pengu is going to do very well, and I'm excited about that. And I see you, Watchmen. I see you there. Love you too. Lots of love for the Theta community. You're holding long term. We're all in this together, and it's super fun to do so. And yeah, those are two of the better looking setups at the moment. I like it. And now we're going to go over, looks like total 3 to wrap this stream up. So if you have any last questions or any dying desire to see your coin charted, let us know in the comments. Otherwise, I think we'll be wrapping up with this chart. So let's see it.
Yeah, total 3. So this is a indicator for most of the altcoins in the market. I think Ethereum and Bitcoin are excluded on the total 3 chart. So they have the largest market cap. If they were included, then the charts would start to look more like Bitcoin and more like Ethereum. So once you take them out of the equation, you're left with this chart. So it gives you a better idea of what's going on with the large caps in general, without Ethereum and Bitcoin being included. So again, now we've got this falling wedge forming. We had to move up to this local resistance. If I zoom out a bit, you can see this yellow trend line on the bottom has been respected since October of 2023. Then we got another bounce in pretty much October of 2024. And now we're seeing it still holding on this previous bounce in April of 2025. So this level here was actually the previous top for the March 2024 top. And now we're trying to turn that level into support. So we had a little bit of a poke below it. Now this falling wedge is aiming towards it, and we're hoping to bounce on this area. If we don't break out of this falling wedge yet, this would be the next level that we want to see before total 3 can move any higher. We're looking for maybe a double bottom in this area to confirm that it's bottoming here. Otherwise, you're still looking for this falling wedge to break out, then a break above local resistance. And once this wedge starts to break and this resistance here starts to break, I think we're going to see a lot of altcoins start following in that movement. So long-term patterns, like this is a daily chart, right? So long-term patterns of coins that are still on the floor, like Theta that we talked about, right? You still have this big bottoming pattern forming. That's when you're going to start seeing a lot of these coins start moving up to at least the $1.13 trillion mark on total 3. So this journey that we could be on next could be the next explosive move that we've been waiting for the altcoins.
No, that's phenomenal. And this is a bullish structure, right? I mean, we're coming down to the bottom of the falling wedge and support on that trend line. I mean, this is a very bullish structure. I mean, although it's felt kind of like a slow bleed for the altcoins throughout a lot of this bull run, there's nothing bearish about this pattern right now, right? I mean, in the big grand scheme of things.
Yeah, the big picture is a giant ascending triangle that we've been working in. So the measured move of this ascending triangle goes all the way up to 1.9 trillion. So essentially the altcoin market could double after this pattern breaks out.
Big. That's huge. And, where we could go from there, who knows? But that's just to start. And I see CL Oracle, pray for me. He's heading to his 9-to-5 job. Hopefully Theta can save him. You know what? I truly believe that anybody who's in at this time is going to do very well in the coming years, period. But how well depends on how much you apply yourself, how laser focused you stay, how tuned in you are. You're just for starters, being here on this live stream and learning and updating and staying up to date on everything that's happening, you will do very well. I see we do have a request for a chart. ICE, I'm not sure, is ICE on any of the major exchanges? We're really only going to chart coins that are on TradingView. So sorry, on the major exchanges and not DEX tools. So yeah, let us know. I don't know if we have time for any more. If you want to check on ICE there, it's ICE Open Network. Can we have a look at that one?
Okay, there's one on OKX I can take a look at.
Yep, that looks like it's the one. Hopefully that's the one you meant, Watchman. Let's check this out.
Ooh. Yeah, it's pretty okay. You got a lot of swings going on in here. Looks like it's been in this range for a while though. So this goes back to okay, so about a year and a half or so. Let's see what we can see on the 1 day. I like to start on the highest time frames first and then zoom in. So the 1 day, this should be the 200 MA on the 1 day. Right, so right now you're breaking above the 1 day 200 MA. Previously you put in this low down here. This could be the higher low that's signaling a trend reversal. So you could definitely pay attention to this coin now. If we pull the fib, if you're looking for some targets, the fib's the next thing I would go to. Let's see. So yeah, right about there, you got some confluence there. So the 0.272 level is also lining up with that 200 MA. So if that level were to break, you could see at least a move up to the 0.618, which is also going to line up with this area of resistance back here. Let me highlight this for you. So right around here. So yeah, it doesn't look too bad. The only thing that I'd be worried about is you might be calling this a bit of a rising wedge, and then you have a little more structure to go before it's ready to actually take off. So there is a bit of hesitation there just for now. Really though, if Bitcoin starts to take off, then this thing could really take off just the same and follow in its footsteps. But yeah, for now, I think it looks good. A break above the 200 MA has been okay in the past. Looks like we had a big move back here after that 200 MA was broken. It acted as support for a little while, so it's definitely being respected. And then after it broke below the 200 MA, that's when it went back into the downtrend. But overall, it's still pretty much weaving around that 200 MA. But you could trade it if you were actively being a trader for this setup.
Yeah, to be fair, not a lot of coins are breaking above their 200-day moving averages right now. So that's something to say. And it's
Right.
got more history than a lot of the newer altcoins. So
Yeah, it's not too bad. I mean, if you're trading it, you could probably make a lot of money on these swings just buying the break above the 200 MA. Really, that's about it. So for now, yeah, I think it's a decent looking chart. There's not much more I can see yet, but as long as that 200 MA holds after the break, I think you'd be all right. Maybe that move to the 0.009 level would be what you're aiming for. So that measurement would be about, yeah, you're looking at about a 60% move.
not bad for starters, huh? So looking good, man. I hope that was helpful, Watchman. CL Oracle, thank you for stopping by. Have a wonderful day at work, but don't lose sight of the goal, which is to break free of that 9 to 5, do what you love, and just proud of all you guys for being in this and sticking through the tough times and having the vision to keep going. So thanks for charting this trip. On that note, guys, prepare your charts for next time. Tomorrow, we will be doing this live again. We're going to try to stick to half an hour. We did a little bit longer today just to kind of like update you guys on everything that's happening. But yeah, we are looking forward to being here with you daily. And yeah, if you want to join the trading group, the link is in the description below with the 20% off summer sale. And otherwise, I think that's it for now. You got anything to add, Trip?
No, I think it's fine for now. It's just really watching Bitcoin to see what it's going to do next. It's still climbing very steadily so far. So as it looks right now, the market looks healthy. We just need to see that confirmation break for Bitcoin before we're thinking of anything beyond this point.
All right. So stay tuned, guys. It's been phenomenal. Have a great day at work. If you're in the US and in Europe, have a great rest of your day, and we'll see you tomorrow.